Mobile gaming is a hot market right now. With mobile technology improving every year, mobile gaming has exploded in popularity around the world. Right now, the most popular genre to play on phones and tablets are MOBA games, which have managed to thrive in markets
ML mention.
where console and PC gaming is less popular or even impossible.
Ini game apaan? What the hell is this?
Games like Mobile Legends, Arena of Valor, and Riot Games Wild Rift are a few examples of titles that have managed to dominate the market. But there was one game that flew under the radar. It didn't have
Wah gila artnya. Jadi kangen banget. Ada Petal, Vox, Koshka, Celeste, Adagio, Ringo. Onion-onionnya si Petal.
in-your-face YouTube advertisements or clickbait ad banners, but in its time, it was one of the most innovative titles on the market. Its graphics, controls, and game design were state-of-the-art, and it had huge esports viability and a dedicated player base. Unfortunately, once its developers handed the reins over to a new publisher, all that work was undone almost overnight. Vainglory is a mobile MOBA launched on iOS in 2014, making use
2014. Berarti udah 11 tahun yang lalu. Gila.
of iOS 6, the iPhone 6 was the only phone powerful enough to run the game. Developed by Super Evil Megacorp, a startup led by former Rockstar, Riot Games, Blizzard, and Insomniac developers, Vainglory was created with the goal of building a unique gameplay experience and doing away with the microtransactions that had dominated the mobile landscape up until this point. Setting itself apart from the competition, Vainglory utilized a two-finger touch system, which encouraged laying your device on a flat surface and playing with your index fingers rather than holding the device in your hands and playing with your thumbs.
Ya, dia beneran inovasi banget sih, legend banget. Di Vainglory tuh nothing bisa kayak Vainglory, gila. Sekarang bahkan MOBA aja yang lu pikir tuh high class kayak Wild Rift aja sekarang udah pakai sistem gacha, kebanyakan event, kebanyakan pop up. Sedangkan kalau Vainglory itu sesimpel itu, seclean itu, dan beneran sebeda itu. Gila sih.
Doing away with the faux analog sticks that were touchy and covered a big portion of the screen, Vainglory utilized the entire display so that players could actually see what was happening. For example, to attack, all players had to do was tap the enemy with one finger and they would move towards them, while the other finger was free to cast abilities, communicate with teammates, place wards, or look at items. It was clean, responsive, and much less frustrating than other MOBAs at the time. Also unlike other MOBAs, Vainglory went for a smaller scale 3v3 map, which only had a single lane for players and minions, and a jungle with monsters to kill. This was a break from the traditional MOBA format, which was 5v5 maps with 3 lanes. Staying in line with the genre, Vainglory had towers, creeps that players can kill for gold, an item shop where players can buy items, and bases that need to be destroyed in order to win. To keep the gameplay fast and exciting, Vainglory cut out most of the excess gameplay associated with the MOBA genre. 10 minutes of laning, CSing, constantly warding, and built a streamlined experience that would only take 10 to 15 minutes if one team was dominating, or 20 to 30 minutes if it was a close contest.
Iya, dia tuh per game-nya cepet banget ya. Kayak nggak ada setup laning gitu-gitu, beneran langsung kayak sering banget baku hantam each team gitu. Gila sih. Memang beneran the absolute peak mobile MOBA.
The game's heroes have defined roles and playstyles. In 3v3s, heroes are divided into junglers, laners, and roamers.
Dulu gua, posisi gua ya? Gua roam kayaknya. Gua tuh dulu roam. Abisnya dari dulu tuh gua sukanya main tank. Ya, gue inget gua dulu roam kalau nggak salah. Dan gua tuh selalu mainnya Finn.
Junglers have abilities specifically designed to deal with jungle monsters and scrap with the enemy jungler. Laners are designed to control the center of the map and earn gold. And roamers are the support heroes, who help out wherever they see fit. An example of your typical laner is Baptiste, the melee mage. He has a passive ability called Reap that lets him heal off of his basic attacks and buffs his base stats once he lands a certain number of hits. His other 3 abilities include Bad Mojo, an AoE attack that does more damage to enemy heroes, Ordained, which traps enemies in an area and stuns anyone who tries to leave, and Fearsome Shade, which causes enemies to run away and also damages them. As far as MOBA characters go, Baptiste is pretty standard, and his kit is geared towards fighting and lane control. The game utilizes some unique jungle mechanics that separates it from its peers. The jungle has a jungle boss called the Gold Miner, which spawns in at 5 minutes and can be killed for.
Ya dia main objektifnya cuman Crystal Sentry, Gold Miner sama Kraken doang, cuman 3. Jadi simple juga gitu loh. Dan itu di tengah-tengah juga gitu. Jadi sebenarnya makronya nggak sesusah game lain, tapi jadi lebih nonjolin di skillnya aja sih.
Gold. The more time the gold miner is left alone and allowed to mine, the more gold players get from killing him. At 15 minutes, the miner is replaced with the Kraken, a jungle boss that requires the whole team to take down. Once defeated, the Kraken joins the team that killed it and
Nah, mereka tuh enaknya juga mereka tuh nggak terlalu nggak sekompleks MOBA lain. Abisnya mereka nggak ada summoner spell. Jadi beneran kalau lu mau main Kraken atau lu mau ngambil Gold Miner, itu beneran last hitnya tuh harus pakai skill gitu. Jadi nggak ditaruh di kayak misalnya ada orang yang punya Smite atau Retri. Jadi beneran serunya di situ juga gitu.
helps to take down the enemy team's towers. For the most part, defeating the Kraken usually means a win for that team. With all that out of the way, let's look at how Vainglory got popular in the first place. When it first launched in 2014, the game was praised for its innovative take on the MOBA genre. Built on the developer's own Evil engine, the game was met with international acclaim as it had a low barrier for entry, it was free to play, and it kept players hooked with its fast match time and all of its content, from skins to new heroes, being unlockable by grinding the game instead of bought with real money. Sure, you could buy things with real money and secondary currency, but most things could be unlocked by grinding out 30 or so games and never having to spend any.
Ya gila, dulu tuh di Vainglory hampir jarang banget lu ketemu orang yang gak punya skin. Semua skinnya tuh gampang banget didapetin. Lu tinggal main aja, that's why. Gila, Vainglory tuh wow. Gue sampai speechless saking bagusnya gitu game itu.
Actual cash. The game was also definitely not play to win, and made a point of staying away from the shady business models that other mobile games tended to follow. With so much praise, eventually, Vainglory made its way to Android, Mac computers, and even Steam. In early 2015, Vainglory had its first esports push.
Ini kan Medic. Ini apa? Caster League of Legends nih. Dulu dia Vainglory. Baru tahu gue. Vainglory Worlds. Damn.
And held its first world championship in 2016. Funded by the developers themselves, the first world's prize pool came in at $175,000. The title even had investment from top esports.
Nah ya ini tim-tim gede udah masuk. Gue inget dulu tuh gue ngefans banget sama TSM Vainglory. Abisnya dulu gue juga lagi ngefans sama TSM League of Legends. Jadi waktu itu gue lagi main League of Legends juga. Tiba-tiba main Vainglory juga kan gue. Tiba-tiba oh TSM. Dulu kan mereka tim nomor 1 di Amerika. Oh mereka buat Vainglory juga. Terus tiba-tiba ada Fnatic, ada Misfits, ada Cloud9. Damn, semuanya sih masuk.
Sports orgs like Misfits, TSM, and Fnatic. But around this time in 2016, cracks were already starting to show, and the developers had to reconsider its philosophy on monetization.
Aduh, ads.
The fall of Vainglory started slowly and quickly accelerated when SEMC handed off publishing duties to Rogue Games. Much of these problems revolved around monetization, which Vainglory had very little of. After its initial launch and the years following, the game offered skins and other cosmetic items which players could buy, but with a
inget banget gue. Harus buka card pack.
robust crafting system and the availability of in-game currency, players could grind out pretty much whatever they wanted without spending a dime. SEMC also invested heavily into esports with little return on those investments. The company reportedly sunk millions into venues and hotels and were hemorrhaging money. All of this expenditure with no return forced SEMC to discontinue their esports ventures in 2018. To try and turn a profit, the devs decided that the skin system needed a change. A new crafting system was added to make grinding for specific skins harder as earning skins became randomized. But most players kept to their usual habits of playing rather than paying.
Oh iya, dulu tuh jadi dibuat harus spesifik, lo harus ada kartunya buat skinnya. Agak lebih susah.
SEMC even introduced other cosmetics like hats, a battle pass system, and chests that players could open for talents that gave certain power-ups in specific game modes, but nothing seemed to help. A new 5v5 mode was added to increase the player base and appeal to a wider mobile audience, and the game even became available cross-platform on Steam, but none of these changes did enough. Part of the issue is due to the lack of advertising. Unlike other mobile MOBAs that advertise their games everywhere online, Vainglory did very little in terms of marketing. The game had one commercial dedicated to itself, and the rest were lumped in with Apple products and collaborations. Most advertising for the game came through esports, word of mouth, and at one time that PewDiePie played the game on his channel.
PewDiePie pernah main Vainglory? Damn. Masih zaman jadul banget nih.
You did, bro? Ah! No! What? Where did he come from?
Seeing their first big title in dire straits, SEMC decided to move on and apply the lessons they learned developing Vainglory to another title. To lessen the workload, SEMC entered a publishing agreement with Rogue Games in 2019.
Oh, jadi mereka udah mau bangkrut duluan, mereka udah abandon ship, pengen move on to new game, jadi mereka kasih ke publishernya gitu. Jadi bukan salah publishernya sih.
This gave Rogue the reins to the free-to-play MOBA, putting them in charge of servers outside of China and let them dictate new skins and hero development. In that same time frame, the company's founders left altogether. For a while, it looked like things might be okay for Vainglory. Rogue Games looked to be more stable than SEMC, and the game was in a pretty good place, all things considered.
Oh iya, gue inget nih wordnya tuh ini apa, robot kayak gini, kamera.
But just a few months later, seemingly out of nowhere, Rogue Games shut down Vainglory's servers outside of China and effectively killed the game for a few days. It wasn't until SEMC turned the servers back on that things were sorted out. Months after the incident, Rogue ended up apologizing for the sudden shutdown, citing Vainglory's high server costs during the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic as justification for pulling the plug. SEMC managed to salvage their title for a time, but changes had to be made. In a developer update and Reddit AMA, the higher-ups at SEMC explained that Rogue Games still held the publishing rights to Vainglory, and that
Jadi si Rogue ini publisher barunya tiba-tiba matiin servernya for no reason, cuman gara-gara katanya servernya terlalu mahal. Terus si Super Evil Megacorp-nya yang publisher awalnya mereka bilang kayak, nyalain lagi dong gitu. Gitu kah? Dan ini pas sekitar COVID. Gue kira pas mereka udah mati sebelum COVID. Berarti waktu itu gue stop main kenapa ya? Gue gak inget dah kenapa gue stop main Vainglory sama temen-temen gue juga. Gue lupa banget. Dulu padahal seru, kayak buat 2-3 tahun kita full main Vainglory. Tapi kenapa ya kita leave ya? Apa gara-gara gue move on ke League of Legends? Tapi ada sesuatu gue inget yang ngebuat gue stop main Vainglory, tapi gue lupa itu apa. Jadi ya kayaknya tambah parah juga sih, jadi player base yang awalnya udah mulai move on gitu. Gara-gara ada sesuatu, tapi gue lupa sesuatu itu apa.
that everyone had to honor whatever decisions they made. So, SEMC had to come up with a compromise. The team ultimately came up with Vainglory Community Edition. Essentially, Vainglory would be given into the hands of its players, who would receive all of the necessary tools to host their own servers and run events without SEMC or Rogue Gaming interfering.
Nah ini, jadi mereka beneran udah kayak kasih full ke fansnya nih. Semuanya lu perlu, jadi lu tinggal buat servernya sendiri, kalau lu pengen main lu bisa buat. Itu keren sih, maksudnya as a developer tuh mereka masih mikirin fansnya kayak gitu.
The ability to purchase servers and host matches was made available to everyone, but there were a few caveats that came along with that. Some features were removed altogether. Ranked matchmaking, ELO, and game history would be lost to time.
Nah ya itu, jadi bukan competitive game lagi, jadi kayak casual game aja, dan pasti sebagai game MOBA yang memang dari awalnya adalah game kompetitif, pasti jadi banyak yang stop main gitu.
Certain in-game features like chat would be unavailable as well. However, there are also a few perks, including players having access to all in-game cosmetics. On top of this, server hosts were given complete access to all game modes and balancing, meaning that players could make the game essentially whatever they wanted. SCMC worked for about 3 months on this iteration of the game, sacrificing nights and weekends in the name of giving their community something to remember them by. In their last update to fans, SCMC gave a farewell and well wishes to those who had already started their own community servers. Outside of China, Vainglory is a shell of its former self. The game had all the makings of a classic when it first released.
Outside of China, berarti di China masih populer. Coba deh habis ini gue cari ya.
With innovative controls and graphics that were unparalleled, but sadly, it just wasn't sustainable. In hindsight, Vainglory's decline was inevitable. Another startup game developer with a great game idea, but little in the way of monetization. These issues were compounded by a new publisher entering the picture and a global pandemic all but sealing the game's demise. Still, through a small, dedicated community, you can download Vainglory today and find a game through their community servers. It's not the same titan it once was, but Vainglory will remain a testament to what mobile gaming innovation looks like and a reminder of what could have been.
There are just so many devices out there, right? That some game is going to hit it so big that it's not just going to be an esport. When you're talking about billions of people, at that point, it's just like mainstream sports. So I don't know if Vainglory will be the game, but I'm confident that there will be a game out there that connects with a wide enough range of an audience that it's a huge success as a mobile esport.
Thanks for watching. What are your thoughts on mobile gaming? Is there
Ya, jadi intinya pelajarannya adalah at the end of the day, a game is still a business sih. Any product that you make, walaupun itu game ya, for fun, as a passion project, tapi kalau lu tetap mau jalanin, it's still a business dan harus pinter-pinter cari duitnya gimana. Ya kan, like you don't have to be greedy, tapi tetap harus, nggak boleh terlalu idealis sih. And I feel like kayak mereka tuh juga nggak komunikasiin ke fansnya gitu loh. Padahal fansnya tuh menurut gue loyal. Mereka tinggal bilang, guys, sorry, kita kayaknya nggak bisa nih kalau skinnya kayak gini. Kita harus cari cara monetisasi dengan lebih baik. Gimana kalau misalnya kita buat skinnya bayar? Udah tinggal gitu aja, pasti fansnya, walaupun ada beberapa yang kesel, tapi pasti bakal support kok. Buktinya aja sampai sekarang masih banyak yang pengen mau main Vainglory dan mau Vainglory masih ada. Jadi ya gitu sih, menurut gue kurang komunikasi juga dari mereka. Mereka malah kayak langsung abandon it, ngasih ke publisher. Terus pas publishernya F-up baru mereka balik lagi. So it's kinda sad, padahal mereka bisa aja kayak fix it, menurut gue sih. Even though they tried their best, gue gak nyalain developernya ya, tapi maksudnya ya bisa jadi pelajaran lah, I think. Ya, tapi kan nggak tahu, ini cuman pandangan gue sebagai fans yang dulu gue sempat main Vainglory lumayan lama juga. Kan gue nggak tahu kalau di belakang gimana sebagai devnya gimana. Pokoknya shout out to devsnya sih, mereka akhirnya tetap ngasih akses buat community server gitu. Tapi ya sedih gila. Abisnya it's such a good innovation Vainglory itu. Ya ini, right? Ironically, their downfall was that their game was too good and they were too generous. Gitu. Jadi mereka tuh bukan bangkrut gara-gara di hate, tapi gara-gara bangkrut karena terlalu baik. Gitu.